Hi, I'm John. This is my show, An American Scheme, where I'm proving that Diana Ross is Michael Jackson's actual mother. So today I'm going to talk about drug use and Paris Jackson, because when I see her all the time, it looks to me like her pupils are dilated. And I've seen this frequently with her. And I know that she talks about using cannabis, but the way that I see her, it looks like she's using other stimulants. And so right here, this is a little thing that's done by police. I believe it says it says on Graves and Associates. It was some kind of a check that the police, when I was looking at this is the police doing a test on people. It was a video of police doing a test to check the pupil size of these people. And what they're showing you here is that large pupils is, and it says here, it says drugs that cause dilated pupils. And it says CNS, which was central nervous system stimulants. So that would be like all of your cocaine and methamphetamines and stuff like that. Plus there's all kinds of prescription things that include those types of forms of drugs and stuff. And then it says hallucinogens, so those are like that would be like LSDs and your magic mushrooms and stuff like that. And then cannabis, which is much more of a mellow thing. And then it says, and some central nervous system depressants, because there's so many drugs out there that they do all kinds of weird things. But one thing that you could see is a unnatural thing that happens is the eyes when they're dilated like that. And here's the other second part of that. When they're dilated, and then let me show you here. Okay, so it says here, it says a pen light is pointed towards the pupil. Certain drugs cause the pupils to have slow reaction to the light. And then so that's what he does. It'll be dark, and then he puts the flashlight on it, and then what happens is the pupils stay large. Where on a normal person, when they put the flashlight on the person, the pupils would constrict much smaller. But what happens is the drugs are in control of the pupils. So the drugs keep them large like that, okay? So this is one of the major signs of the people that are trained to know about drugs. See, I'm not trained to know about drugs. I've just been around it so much. I've seen so many of it that this is just stuff you see. It's just obvious when you see it, and you just look into somebody's eyes, and then it's one of those things, you just instantly say, well, you're dirty, your eyes are dirty. This is like one of the basic, most fundamental, simple things to recognize when somebody's under the influence of some kind of drug. Because when people are sober, their eyes are just basic. There's a normalcy to them, and they're clean. They're clean, and there's a normalcy to them. But when you see eyes that are doing weird things, that they're bugged out and they're wired, or they're too droopy and they're really slow, drugs are causing that. Basically, almost all of the time. It's almost always drugs that cause those things. So this is what I want to show you about. We want to talk about Paris Jackson. Every time I see her pupils are, the way drug culture we say it is, they're bugged out. Her eyes are always bugged out. Her pupils she's got these dilated pupils all the time. And so like, I know that she smokes marijuana, but if she was a constant marijuana smoker, that would lead her to having what they call the munchies. She would have a better appetite. And she's a model, and the number one enemy for a model would be eating, okay? So she can't be eating all the time. What these models always do, they always talk about them throwing up. They when they eat, they throw up their food. Or they use stimulant drugs that stimulate their central nervous system, and it kills their appetite, so they're not eating. And that's how she stays skinny. That's because her mother has a little bit of a bigger build, and she's got a little bit, you got to be really, really skinny in Hollywood. Real super, it's so skinny when you actually see these people. And so you get a normal Paris Jackson, she would look fat. That's the problem. When you would get what a normal Paris Jackson would be as using marijuana, she would look fat. But right now she's being a model and trying to be an actress. And in order to do that, she's needing to take stimulants to stimulate her central nervous system, which kills her appetite so she doesn't eat. And one of the basic things, results of that is you look at her eyes, see how they're bugged out, she's on drugs. Okay? There's your drug lesson for today, kids.